Hi, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the dungeon. My name is Robin, and today is Flameworking in Black and White, Volume 34. So I'm very thankful to be back, and I really needed to take some time off. So I appreciate all of you for your patience. So, to ring in the new year, I kind of felt like I was neglecting one of the playlists, and it's the Black and White playlist. It is a monogram pendant, and I am using a specific kind of script cane for this pendant, and I'll show you that to begin with. So, if you've been interested in drawing or lettering with your cane, hopefully this will open up a pathway for you all. And with that said, I hope you're all doing safe and well out there. Thanks so much for joining me. Happy New Year, and I'll see you next time in the dungeon. All right, I'm going to get everything started here by grabbing a thick, clear rod. I'm using a 7mm rod here. You can use whatever size you want and whatever kind of clear you have on hand. I like to use the Super Clear by Effetri. It's affordable, and it's the best clear that I think I can get for my money. Anyway, I'm just going to build this up a little bit and get a nice gather on the end and flatten it out. I'm just looking for a small lollipop shape to start out with. And then I'm just going to tug on that a little bit. I just need a little bit more length there. Okay, so now what I want to do is I want to add the black, and this is the Intense Black. And I do like to use the Intense Black for this, because if you use a regular black, when you draw it out into your cane, it becomes a very light purple. And this stays as black as it can be. I do pull it out quite a bit, so it's slightly transparent, but it still looks pretty good. So I'm going to add a few lines in the center, and I'm building up just a thick black line. Make sure that it's just in the center of the clear. And then I'm going to flatten that down. I probably added 2 layers on top of 2 layers on top of 2 layers for the black, and then flattened it. So now that we have it flattened, I need to encase it. And I'm going to just start by covering up the black side. And I'll do that twice. And that usually makes up for the difference on the other side. So I'm just going to add a little bit more here. What I'm really looking to do is to encapsulate the black very evenly on both sides with the clear. And I will add a little bit more later on, but for now I'm going to try to pull this tip out a little hotter, and I'm going to just draw that out so I have a nice even point to punty up on. And I'm going to use a punty here. It's a metal punty. It's just a throwaway mandrel. And once I have that in there, and you're just putting it in a little tiny bit, don't embed your mandrel in there too much. It only needs a tiny amount to stick to the glass. And then what I want to do is take the other side off, shape it up a little bit maybe, and then I will go ahead and pull the point off of this one. So I have 2 nice ends. Okay, and now at this point, as I'm looking at it, I kind of feel like I need a little bit more clear on one side. And I can tell once the glass gets glassy looking again, you can kind of tell if you need to add a little bit more clear here or there. And of course, you do want to add as much clear as you need to get as much cane as you want. So I'm going to end up with about 2 feet of cane here. All right, I just flattened down the 2 sides because I'm drawing it out as a flat cane. And I'm going to punty up the other side. All right, now all I need to do is give it a good heat in the center and then very gently draw it out. So lots and lots of heat here. And then a nice slow pull at first. And then once you kind of feel things pulling out real nice, then that's when you want to start really stretching it, when the glass starts to kind of start stiffening up. And then I will go ahead and cut it in the center and then break our two ends off here. And then we have two canes that I'll probably break into 4 canes, and it gives you a nice calligraphy line. All right, so to start the pendant out, if you guys have seen any of my pendants before, you'll know that I am horrible at making loops on the end if it's not in boro. So what I like to do instead is to just make a small bead on a mandrel. And you can see where I'm adding it. I have my, I'm adding it to the farthest side of my bead release, because now that this is cool, I'm gonna put it in my annealer, and it's running at 1,000 degrees, and make sure that one handle is hanging out nice and far so that you don't burn yourself when you're ready to retrieve it. All right, let's go ahead and start this pendant. So I have my white, and this is kind of a thick piece of white, and because it is so cold down here, in the dungeon, it was splintering on me left and right. So, yeah, so I had to just take my time and get this glass to just gather up as much as I could. And I am looking for a really big gather, probably about a good inch, like a little inch big marble. And then I'm going to attach it to my punty. And then I will fill it in a little bit more. I'm actually looking for, when I'm finished flattening this, the pendant itself is 1.5 inches wide. So I really want a lot of glass. I am not very good with small lettering, so we're going to make larger letters. All right, so what I'm doing here, now that I have this gather of glass, is I'm just kind of tugging it away from the punty there, so I can evenly shape it. And I just want to get into a nice round. And this is my 1.5 inch marvering. What am I trying to say here? It's my marble roller, or whatever you call it. I'm at a loss for words right now, guys. Marble mold. Okay. So let's go ahead and punty up the other side, and then I will pull the other end off. And the reason why I do this is because I want to make sure that when I put my final punty in here, it is just barely sticking into the glass. All right, so now I am ready to heat this up, and we have like a football shape here, and I'm holding it slightly downward a little bit because I want it to elongate slightly. I don't want this to be a round pendant. I want it to be slightly oval on the wide side. So now this is looking good, and I'm going to start to gently flatten it a little at a time. Don't flatten it all at once. Just a little flatten, flip it over, flatten it again, flip it over. So you're just gently, you have more control this way, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And I like the way this looks. It's nice, and it's kind of wider than it is high, and that's going to work for me for this monogram. One more flattening, and that looks good. So that is our canvas for our lettering. Okay, so I need to, this is the important part, turn your flame down very, very small. My flame looks a little bit bigger, but I guarantee it's a very small flame. And I'm going to take the end and hold my cane up and down, so the line is up and down, and then very slowly, right on the edge of the flame, you are drawing in your last name's letter. Mine is an S. So I'm going to put the S in the center. And the whole time, yeah, I'm not perfect at this, you guys, but the whole time I'm doing this, I'm at the edge of the flame with my drawing cane. And I am moving like the pendant in the form of an S. My cane, most of the time, stays exactly where it is. And then I want to immediately heat and flatten that down. Okay, so now I'm going to go in with the R. Your first initial goes on this side, and I very gently, yeah, okay, so I do that curl right there. And I want to let you guys know I'm going to grab this tip and just pull it out so the very end of that R has more of a point to it. And then immediately flatten that line down. Now I'm trying to do everything in the least amount of lines possible because I'm trying to make it look like cursive. I'm going to put this line in right on top of that R for that last line there and give it another curl. These aren't perfect. I probably made about, I probably made like 8 of these before I got to this one. And it's just a lot of practice, you guys. But I am holding my cane in one angle. So as I move it, the cane gets thicker and thinner. Okay, so now for your middle initial, it goes on the right side. And I'm going to overlap into the S a little bit. And go ahead and finish up. And you are just right next to the edge of the flame. No more. Do a loop there and bring that K line down. And I'm just going to pull that little point out here. And then immediately go ahead and heat that down and press it again. And that, my friends, is the monogram. It does take time to learn how to draw with the cane. Before I did this, I had a notepad and a pencil. And I did this RSK several times on paper so I could kind of figure out my hand movement. And that really, really helped me out, you guys. Okay, so now that we have our pendant and everything's flattened down, here's the weird part. I'm going to punty up on a different axis here. But first I want to heat up my punty and soften it a little bit where it is originally next to the R. And now look at where I'm going to punty this up. I'm puntying up on the back end and I'm using a thin mandrel and I just tap it to the back side. I don't want anything touching the bottom or the front side. And now here is the important part. You need to be very careful when you pull this other punty out because it is right next to your lettering and you don't want to mess up your lettering. So I'm only heating the back side. And then just kind of, once that's gone, I will just very gently heat the white and just smooth it out as much as I can and give it a slight flatten. And that is it. I don't want to do too much more with this. All I need to do is put my my hook on and we're done. So at this point, I'm just keeping it warm in the flame while I grab my bead out of the annealer, and there's some schmutz on it. So I got to get that off immediately and get it right into the flame. You don't want that bead to crack. If it does crack, stay in the flame and it should heal up okay. But I need to take a second to cool the other handle down so I can hold it later on. That's so important. All right, so now what I want to do is heat the bead up in one spot and heat up just a little bit of the white. You want the bead hotter than the white. And then you can push the bead on it, and I'm just looking at the side to make sure everything is lined up. And here, I'm sorry you can't see, but at the very end, you're just taking that final punty off, heating it up to smooth it down. And here's the final pendant. The monogram and script cane looks great. And, it's just a lot of practice, you guys. And if you're interested in this, I hope you try it out. Let me know how it goes. And I will see you all next time in the dungeon.